In the last session, we discussed how to design winning products and services which offer great value to customers. This is just the start. We now need to think about how we communicate that value to our target customers to entice them to buy. One of the main roles of marketing is to successfully communicate, to generate awareness of a product or service, to educate the prospective customer to understand the benefits being offered, to encourage the customer to become interested, to possibly change customer perceptions or attitudes about a product or competitors' products, and finally to prompt target customers to buy. These are all aspects of communication. But let's first consider how communications work. The marketer first has to be clear on the message that they wish to communicate. What are the objectives? Is the message to inform, to educate, or to persuade? This message then needs to be encoded or translated into an effective message which the customer can understand. Once the message is received by a target customer, a process of decoding takes place. This is the way in which the message is interpreted and understood by the target audience. Hopefully, if the message has been clearly designed by the marketer, it will resonate with the customer and they'll respond accordingly. The response they give will act as feedback for the marketeer. Depending on the response and feedback, the marketer will repeat or adapt the messages that they're sending. Communication seems a simple process, but there are challenges in reality. First, the marketer has to really understand the target audience and what is important to them. The marketer needs to encode the message in a way the intended audience will understand by using the right words, the right images, the right actors, and the right tone of voice. The more the customer is understood, the more likely the message will be encoded effectively and then decoded and received in the way intended. Secondly, marketers need to be aware that there's a difference between direct and indirect communication. The marketer may develop a wonderful advert or brochure or website to communicate a very clear message, but the customer is also influenced by indirect messages that the company sends out. For example, an unreliable product will send out a negative message. Failure to respond to a customer complaint will send out a negative message. And a rude sales assistant will send out the wrong message. Successful marketers try to ensure consistent, positive messages across all of their activities. Thirdly, marketers need to be aware that target customers will not only listen to messages that the marketeer sends out, they will also pick up on other messages or noise from other places about the product. They may see messages on social media from happy or dissatisfied customers. They may read reports in the newspapers. They may be told things by their friends. They'll also receive messages from competitors. Marketers need to find a way of cutting through the clutter of this noise to reach the customer with a clear message. Fourthly, marketers also need to understand that communication is a two-way process. Marketers should not only push messages out, they should also listen carefully to their customers and respond accordingly. Particularly with the advent of social media, customers often want to engage in a conversation with a company, particularly a company they're buying from, and this can be helpful to learn more about what satisfies and what deters customers. Let's think about how communications work. When a company is trying to encourage target customers to buy a new product or service, it's not an instantaneous process. It takes time to persuade a customer to take action. Let's consider the AIDA model, A-I-D-A. This is based on the work of an American advertising pioneer, Elmo Lewis. It's a simple model that argues that marketers need to consider the stages that a consumer will need to go through before taking action. First, awareness. An individual can't do anything unless they know about a product or service. So the marketer first has to consider, how do you attract the attention of target customers? Second, interest. An individual may become aware of a product, but that alone is not enough. How do you interest the target customer in the value proposition of your enterprise relative to competitors? Third, desire. You may establish interest, but will that convince the customer alone? You need to persuade the customer to really want the product, to desire the product. And finally, action. Ultimately, you want the target individual to do something, to move towards trialling or buying. So the marketer needs to think how to lead customers into that action. Now, there are various tools of communication. The overall marketing communications campaign needs to take consumers through this complete process, but it might not be possible to do this all in one campaign. Successful marketers recognise that different tools and approaches may be needed at each stage, at each different stage. Advertising through the TV, in newspapers or on the internet is great at generating awareness amongst a very large dispersed population at a relatively low cost per head. Advertising also enables the marketer to repeat a message many times. However, advertising is a relatively impersonal medium. It's not as credible or persuasive as other forms of communication. Direct marketing, email for example, is an alternative for reaching large audiences, but it's different in that the communication can be targeted very specifically at specific individuals, by email, as I say, or by post or by phone. But it's better than advertising in some ways because you can customize the message to individual customers. Public relations is an alternative, and this involves targeting stories at journalists to try to get news into the press. Again, you can reach large audiences, but the main benefit of PR is that it's very credible. The message gets to customers as news rather than as advertising. It's also a relatively low-cost channel of communication and ideal for companies with a small budget. Sales promotion is another option, and it includes a range of tools such as discounts and coupons, and these can be excellent at prompting target customers to take immediate action. Sales promotions invite and reward quick response. The main downside is that the effect can be quite short-lived and it doesn't build long-term brand preference. Personal selling is another tool for communication, although it's mainly used in the B2B marketing context. It can be a very effective way of persuading customers and prompting them to take action and to place an order. It can be very effective in personalising the brand and building close customer relationships, but the cost of a sales force can be significant. So in conclusion, successful marketers need to use communication in creative ways in order to achieve an impact on their target customer, either to inform or to educate or to persuade. Communication is not a one-off activity. A continual two-way conversation is needed between the company and the customer in order to lead them on the journey from awareness through to purchase. Successful marketers also need to communicate in a way that's more powerful than competitors, so that they stand apart from others in the market.